or the foreign countries has taken the textile industry. You know, going to Mexico and China and all. I seen some of the newsreel the other night where the old looms put me in mind the way it was back in our Depression days. Seeing those looms running, you know. But
do you think that's the reason why they'll never get a union in the mills?
yeah, because they're taking all the factories away. They're taking them away into the foreign countries, Mexico, China. Most of it, I think, is in China now. In Hong Kong and all those places, you know, it's where people work for $1 a day or something.
Okay.
Susie, now you come back.
Okay. I'm just going to get my notebook. We can start. For the benefit of my tape, could you tell me your full name and when you started working in, you know, where you live in and when you started working in the cotton mill in general?
Well, my name is Homer B. Logsdon, and I started working in the cotton mill when I was 15 years old. And I stayed there for about 12. I don't know. I worked at Cherokee 12 years, and then I went to Carolina and worked over there for maybe a year or something. Then I went into service.
And tell me about what do you do in the Cherokee cotton mills?
I was a weaver. I started as a sweeper. When I went into Cherokee, I was hired in as a sweeper, and I done that one night. Then they gave me a better job.
In one night?
One night I was a sweeper, and sweeping the floor, and then I went in. That was in the spinning room, and I went from the spinning room to the weave room, and I had a better job. And I just kept on till I got my weaving job. Then I was a weaver for about 10 or 12 years.
Now, why don't you tell me what it was like when you first went in?
Oh, it was a sweat box. Because back then, you couldn't open the windows, and you had humidifiers that was sprinkling the moisture out in the building, because they claimed the looms wouldn't run if they got too dry. And of course, you could see why, because of the way the looms run and the harness was going up and down. You could see why the threads would break if they got too dry.
Now, what were the conditions like? Well, you started working in what year?
Oh, it's in July, August of 29.
Uh-huh.
And of course, I had to get a work permit. And
had you finished high school?
No. I had a stepmother, and I didn't want to live at home. And my dad told me if I didn't go when time for school starts September, he said, "Young man, if you don't go to school," he said, "you've got a long time to work." So I had a long time to work. And but I worked back in those days. Times began to get rough. I think I started out maybe $12 a week, and times just kept getting rough.
How many hours a week did you work that?
At that time, it was 11 hours, I believe. 11 hours. But anyhow, times got rough, and they cut 10%, 10%, and 10%, and then 40%. It cut the night shift off. And the shift started up, the weavers, instead of making $30 a week or $40, they was making $8 and $10 a week.
What year was that?
It's sometime in the 30s. I don't, early 30s. And
now, is that what happened when Roosevelt came in?
when Roosevelt come in, he says that the minimum wage would be 30 cents an hour, and we'd work 8 hours a day. And I know I had worked 13 hours a night, and I got $6 a quarter a week. That was before Roosevelt went in. But then when Roosevelt went in, business got good, everything picked up, everybody went back to work. And wages began to climb just a little bit. When we had, I don't remember what year we had the nationwide textile strike,
That was in 1934.
but anyhow, the mill was going good, and people were making 25, 30, the weavers were making $25, $30 a week.
What, $25 or $30 a week?
Yeah, I guess I don't remember exactly
Okay.
because it's been so long. See,
Yeah.
that's been many years
Well,
ago.
let's go back a little bit. In July of 33, that's when they put in the Blue Eagle and the National Investment
NRA.
Recovery Act. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, do you remember when they put in the NRA?
Yeah, I remember, but I don't remember if that was when they cut the hours.
That's when they cut the hours. And
And
that's when they put in the minimum wage. And that's when workers started to organize.
yeah,
They said that Section 7A said that the workers had the right to organize.
yeah.
Now,
And when we thought our mill was 100%. Well, when we got to walk on the picket line, we had guys that was a big mouth, I called them, carried the flag and we tried to walk a picket line, but the cops had threatened to put us in jail and everything else, and put us out in the street, and wouldn't let us stop. We had to walk all the time. And then the next day, those guys that was I call big mouths, they were back in on their jobs. And the next thing you know, our union was just gone. And the guys that really believed in it, that could, went someplace else. And of course, the mill got back to run full force again. And of course, we made as much as the union people because they tried to keep our wages up to keep us from organizing. And that was when Heinsohn bought that mill. I don't remember what year. But I know he'd tell us how much the company owed, and then how much he could give us a raise every year, that kind of stuff, to try to keep people happy. And of course, to this day, I don't think they've got a union.
I don't think so either. Tell me about the organizing that took place in 1933. And do you remember when it came in? Why did people want to organize? What were they working for?
I think the biggest thing, we wanted everybody to stick together. Of course, as a weaving mill, I don't know anything about the card room and the spinning room. I don't know how they organized, but now, if I'm not mistaken, Lucille was in the spinning room, and that's where the 50 winders were. And I don't know how she worked, but when we go to the union meetings, she was a big talker, and this cook, I believe, and then maybe there's some organizer from someplace else. I don't remember exactly. It's been so long.
Where were your meetings? Where were your meetings?
I think best I remember we were at the Labor Temple out on, I forgot what the name of the street is. The Labor Temple's still there.
Yeah.
But
So you were saying Lucille would speak and Cook would speak and maybe another organizer.
yeah, we'd express our opinions, about what we thought could be the improvements. But as far as air conditioning and that kind of stuff that went on, we didn't dream that a mill could run air conditioning.
Now, tell me about I have dates and things like that, so you don't have to worry about dates, okay? But let's try and get specific about you were in the weave room. You were a weaver, right?
I was, you know, they didn't take in apprentice weavers. I was what they call a filling boy, and I learned to weave on my own. I'd hurry and get my job done, and then I would go to a weaver, and I'd help him, and he'd show me what he knew. And one night we had a set of looms that was idle, and I come up, and the boss weaver was there, and they didn't have anybody to go on that loom. And I said, why can't I? And he said, can you do it? I said, I sure can. He said, okay, they're yours. So I was a weaver from then on. And, but I had to do it on my own. They didn't pay you to learn to do it. You had to, of course, they were paying me to do my job.
But a weaver made more than a filling boy.
Yeah, the weaver, I made more money weaving than the loom fixers made because I worked. And
Now, you were what? At what point did you become a weaver? Was that before 33? Was it before your hours
no,
got made
no,
high?
it's after 33. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I think I was making up 30 as much as $30 a week when I first started.
Now, do you think that must have been after the union came in, or that was before?
No, it's after our union was broke up.
Okay, so you were a filling boy during the union.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so that period of time in 33, 34, you weren't a weaver when you came out on strike.
Uh,
Okay, so what did a filling boy do?
oh, he put you know we had different colors. Our looms had 4 boxes, and you had a different color of thread in each one of those boxes, and that made different stripes in the cloth. And you had to keep. We had about 250 looms that you had to keep that different colors of filling setting up on the loom so the weaver would have it when he wanted it. And that was my job at that time. I had to go to the 90 winders, and that's where they put the filling on the quilt. And then I'd have to bring it up, put it on the looms, and to keep it all straight. So the weaver, all he had to do is reach up there and get it when he needed it. And I would get my job done. Of course, that was when we worked all night.
So you were working third shift.
Uh-huh.
You were working in the night shift?
Yeah, I always worked the night shift.
Okay, and you started when you were 16.
15.
15 years old.
Yeah.
And that was in 29. So you were 29.
That's July, August of 29. I don't remember which.
So you were 19 years old in 1933.
Yeah, I guess.
So
Yeah.
you're 19 years old, and you were working all night long.
Yeah.
Could you describe what it's like and what the atmosphere in that mill was like? I'm trying to imagine what it was like for a 19-year-old boy.
Well, we didn't know any better because, see, we were all poor people, and we were used to work. And we'd go to work at 5 o'clock in the evening, and at 10 o'clock we'd have 30 minutes for lunch, and we'd eat our lunch, and then we'd go back to work and quit at 6 o'clock the next morning.
Were you tired when you left?
Well, we never even thought about getting tired.
Did you go home and go to bed?
Sometimes we would, sometimes we wouldn't.
Now, did you feel like that at that point, I mean, in 30, so that you're working 11 and a half hours or maybe sometimes 13, and what were you making, about 25 cents an hour, 15 cents an hour?
Well, see, we started off, as I said, back when they cut all the shifts off,
Right.
and cut back to, I worked one time for 6 cents an hour, And of course, I didn't work long at that. I went to work. I went out there and went to work for a contractor at 25 cents an hour. So, but then when things began to pick up,
You went back to the mill?
I don't remember when that, but when they put the third shift back on, and they called me and wanted to know if I wanted to go to work. And I said, yeah.
Okay.
So I went back in the mill.
And that's before the organizing, right? Or after?
I think it was actually.
Okay. So I'm going to try.
Yeah, because when I went back as a weaver.
Okay. Fine. So what I'm going to try and do is have us talk about before the organizing in 32, 33, and then the strike in 34, and then we'll talk about afterwards. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So so in 33, you were a filling boy.
Yeah, well, I guess so.
Okay.
Because, it's hard to
I
remember
know. That's why I'm helping you.
45, 50 years ago.
I know it's hard. But that's why I figure 2 heads or 3 are certainly going to help put the pieces together.
Because,
So you're a filling boy and you're 19 years old and it's 1933. And Roosevelt has been on the radio, I guess. Did you ever hear Roosevelt on the radio?
we all, see, everybody was so, the textile people, cotton mill people, as you call them, back then, they all wanted to work, and they didn't know what else to do. We had marble mills and the cotton mill, and the kids didn't have anywhere else to go to work. And if they worked, they'd have to go in the cotton mill or the marble mill. And the marble mills was really labor. And of course, my job, I had to be there all those hours, but maybe I'd work 5 hours a night. But other times I was learned to weave. So, but we had good, as far as our bosses was concerned, we'd never see them because they knew we were doing our work. And but now, I guess if we didn't do our work, there's somebody outside waiting on your job.
Did they tell you that?
No, but we knew it. They didn't have to tell us. They'd be out there every evening. People would be out there, wanting to come in the mill. They couldn't come in. And but if somebody quit their job, the boss would just go out there. Of course, they couldn't go as a weaver.
So were in 1933 when they said that you could organize, that idea came into the mill. It's okay.
The boss.
Start a union. What did you think about that?
Well, as I say back then, we don't think we were doing what the older guys were doing. We were going with them. Whatever they wanted to do, that's what we done. And of course, if they didn't work, if the weavers, the loom fixers didn't work, we couldn't work. So we were with the majority. That's why.
When did you start? When did you join the union? Do you remember? Was it a long time before that strike, or was it earlier?
I don't remember.
Okay.
No, that's something I couldn't remember.
Did you go? You went to union meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you go for a long time to union meetings before that strike?
No, it didn't. It wasn't that long before they called a strike. Of course, we didn't really think that we should go on a strike because we were making more than the unions were paying. But we were supposed to be sympathetic with the nationwide textile strike. See, I think that there were mills in North Carolina and all over where people come out. But that's when the people had to go back to work because they didn't have any money.
Now, tell me about the leadership. Do you remember Lucio? And
I don't remember. It seemed like Hicks was one. I'm not sure. It seemed like Dick Crook. I believe that was his name. And it was some of the older guys. I don't remember exactly their name.
do you remember? Can you piece together when
I don't remember about that because we just all, as I say, we went in what the older guys were doing. We went in with them.
The weavers and the doffers.
Loom fixers.
Loom
No,
fixers.
well, as I say, we didn't know nothing about the spinning room.
Right.
Now that was the
That's
doffers,
the doffers. So you were with the loom fixers and
the weavers.
Okay. Did a lot of these older people say, "Look, we've been working here a long time, and this is going to benefit us"? What kind of things?
Well,
were
see,
they
that's
talking
I
about?
think that's what everybody was after, was improvement on the. I don't know what, we were just. I guess it was for more money. That's the only thing I can figure because, as far as our working conditions, when we had to, when they passed the law that you worked 8 hours, that was all you worked unless you wanted to work. They couldn't come along and say you've got to work 12 hours. They didn't do that anymore.
Did they stretch your work out when you
Uh-uh.
went on 8 hours? 'Cause I've heard people talk about that the work got even harder because of the 8 hours.
Well, maybe some of the mills did, but as I say, Cherokee tried the best I can remember. I had 8 looms, and some of the guys had maybe 10, but they wanted them because they made more. As long as you had those wheels running, you was making money. And of course, I was satisfied with my 8 because I got to where when I left the mill in 40, I was making, I guess, $40, $50 a week. And then when I went to North Carolina, I believe when I come out of service, I come back and I was making about $100 a week.
Wow.
And but I didn't want in the cotton mill anymore because we called them cotton mills, but it's textile mills now. And but I don't know what they make now.
Oh well.
It seemed like the first man when I first went there, it seemed like the man that owned it was named Mebbins.
Uh-huh.
Was that right?
Yeah, and he died during that strike, didn't he?
I think so, and everybody was happy about it.
They were happy about it.
Yeah, 'cause he died. But when this Heinsohn come in, he had everybody together, and he told us. I remember him saying that his wife was a nurse, and he said, this mill is in bad shape. He said we owe $500,000. And said we got to pay $50,000 a year till this is paid back. But said if any of you need any money, or if you need any help, sickness, he said call us. And said my wife will be there, or I'll see you get your money. But I don't know if anybody ever called him. But he was a nice man. The old man was. I always thought he was. But it's a shame this boy couldn't turn out the same way.
Which boy?
Heinsohn's boy.
Uh-huh.
Because I think he lost everything the old man ever made.
Ugh.
His chief, old York, I believe was his name. Oh, they treated us like we were a bunch of cattle.
What did they do?
About making us move. And wouldn't let us be on the sidewalk. We had to get the street.
Now, was that the first time you had ever joined a union?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about that idea?
We wanted to kill him.
You wanted to kill who?
The policemen. Because we didn't think they were treating us right.
Did you carry signs?
Yeah, and the flag. I don't know. We didn't carry signs like they do now.
Did you sing any songs?
I don't remember. I don't
Were there
remember.
a lot of people there?
Yeah. We always had a great. Most of the time, though, it was out of the weave department because that was the main thing of that mill was the weave shop. Because when it,
Do you remember that?
I don't know if I do or not.
That was a handout that they handed out to people.
I don't remember any of those names though.
Well, there are no names. That's the United Textile Workers Union.
Yeah, that's this was what we were in.
Right.
But
You were local 1758.
I thought that was all dead years ago, so I never even dreamed about it.
Okay. Now, this is a picture that was in the Knoxville Journal. That's a picture of the strike. Does that look familiar to you?
Yeah, I don't remember the guys with the hats on, but most of us, I guess we did. I might have been right in that. Foots Weaver, I remember. I'm Bigfoot. Yeah, I remember him.
Now, who was Foots Weaver?
I don't know what his name was, but he always had big feet.
Is that what they called him then?
Yeah, and yes, Lucille Thornburg.
Now, do you remember the women's participation?
Yeah, they were several girls that was off of the 50 Winders that were active. I forgot their name. If I see some of them in here, I'll know it.
Okay, I have some names right here, which might be real helpful. And here's a picture.
The sidewalk was right here, and the policemen, when they got the constables, the policeman left, and the constable would deputize guys and give them $5 a day, to keep us off the sidewalks, and
Now that was an injunction that they put against all of you that said that you couldn't be there anymore.
And that's what the meal. But now this was a card room, that part of it.
Now, before they told you that you couldn't stand on a picket line, was it real strong? I mean, did you feel a lot? Did you feel like there were a lot of you? Did it feel exciting to be out there with everybody?
I don't know. I guess we were we were ready to fight anybody. I guess because they were guys come from over at Alcoa that walked on their picket line.
So you got support from the community.
Yeah, from that aluminum company, and some of our guys would go over and walk their picket line. And but that's when everybody was on long hours, I guess, and everybody was. And of course, the union has stayed over at the aluminum company. I mean, they still have, they make a whole lot of money.
Because the union was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alcoa has theirs, Oak Ridge has theirs. Susie, get away from
She's okay. She's okay.
Oak Ridge still has theirs, and they still a few union outfits here.
Now, do you remember what happened when the strike was over? They called off the strike nationwide, and they said, "Okay."
Everybody just went back to work. The ones they let them, and say they several they wouldn't let. They what they call blackballed them. And that's something that I think Hicks Lane was maybe one, and Dick Crook was one, and Turner Boys was some, and Floyd Henderson, and Fats Clayton, and I could just name several, just went on.
Now, were all these boys that worked in the same room with you? They worked in the lead room?
Yeah, but now, these Turner Boys was the only one that was, in my age. The other guys were older.
They were over there in North Carolina. They went over there.
These are all.
Floyd Henderson and the Turners and all that.
Yeah,
to North
Fats
Carolina.
They came
Clayton.
to your mill?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he did. But
Because-
he didn't come on account of that.
Right.
He came because of his divorce.
The boss over there,
Over where? Over in Cherokee?
in Cramerton, when I went over there, I knew these Turner Boys. We were raised up together.
Is that why you went to Cramerton?
Yeah.
Because you knew people there?
Yeah, I knew those two boys. And I knew Fats Clayton and Floyd Henderson. And so we call him Hob. He said, "Are you looking for a job?" And I told him, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, let's go down to the boss's house." So we went down there, and he said, "You worked at Cherokee?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'll hire anybody that come from Cherokee." And he said, "You come work tonight." And I said, "Well, let's wait till tomorrow night." So I worked over there as much as I wanted. I'd quit and I'd still go back. They give me a job back.
Are any of those people that left here, that went to Cramerton, still alive? you think?
Yeah, Fred Turner lives here someplace.
He does.
Yeah.
Now, he was blacklisted from the mill?
I believe that was right.
And he,
Because they wouldn't hire him back.
now, did you try and go back with everybody to get your jobs back? Do you remember lining up?
I went back.
Tell me about, if you can, tell me about that experience of lining up and going back for your job.
You know, it's just like the one nothing ever happened. Some that went over our picket lines, you know, we gave them a cold shoulder for a while, and then it all just faded away.
Now, why do you think they hired you back and other people they blacklisted?
I guess I didn't have my mouth open too big. That's the whole thing I can figure. Because I was just with them, and that was it, you know, and I wasn't picked out, you know, to be pushing the union or anything. I was just with everybody else.
How did you feel about going back to work after that?
Well, back then you didn't think about it. You knew you had to have a job, and you wasn't worried about it, but you felt like, just like if you ball game, you know, if you lose, you lose. You just felt like you lost, so you just might as well go back and forget about it.
Did you ever go to any more union meetings after that?
No, our union just, it was broke up.
Do you think you would have been afraid to talk union in the mill after that strike?
I never did hear about it anymore, as I remember.
Was it like it didn't happen?
Uh-huh.
Is that the way?
Yes, that's the best I remember. That's, as I say, some of them that was so big and big mouth, they carried the flag and everything, and then they was the first that went back. You know, you kind of give them the cold shoulders a while, but then it just finally wore off.
Now, I have a list of all the people that the mill decided not to hire back. And that's how I got your name. So I'm surprised that you got your job back.
Oh, they weren't going to hire me back?
And that's what it seems like. That's what it seems like.
They asked me to come back.
They did.
I don't remember when, it's when they started the third shift up, so they asked me to come back.
Well, the strike was over in September 1934. And
Wasn't going to hire back. But they asked me to come back. I don't remember when it was, but...
Okay, it says 157 former employees were out on strike when the strike terminated. 24 of these people did not apply for reemployment. 30 have been reemployed, and we have been advised from different sources that at least an additional 12 of these people have obtained employment elsewhere. We are of the opinion that considerably more than 12 have obtained employment elsewhere. But again, it says persons that were locked out of Cherokee Mill after the strike, and I assume that these are the people who were blacklisted, and these are their names.
Let me see if I... oh, hello, that's a long one.
See, what happened was...
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you go through
Yeah, he worked in there's so many people in there, I don't know.
Didn't know any of
But
them.
all these people went back. The Cups went back. That's the whole family right there.
They went back to work.
Uh-huh. Reddy Cup. See, he was the boss.
Ratty Cup was a boss?
Yeah.
Was he out on strike too?
I don't think so. But see, Reddy Cup was boss on the, what kind of winders was it? It was downstairs.
Foster Winders?
Huh?
Foster Winders?
No. See, we had 90 winders and 50 winders. Then this winders was on those big cones. I forgot what they were.
Now, is Rowdy Cup still alive? Because his name's in
Huh.
the phone book. He's dead?
They don't even have your name spelled right.
See, all these are Bruce Cog. His, what, Logston?
Here it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's,
There's Floyd Henderson's name.
yeah.
I knew him.
Now, Floyd Henderson
Uh-huh.
went to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Did he go right after this strike? He
Uh-huh.
moved?
But see, all these,
They say these people were locked out, but that's not necessarily so, is it? Some of them
no,
were.
no, because I see these cups. Let's see, this Guy cup and Reddy cup. Let's see if I see. Yeah, there's Reddy. Let's see where if there's a Guy cup. Lou, there's Mary, there's Lou, Roxy Clark. See, they were all three cups. And Reddy, that's their brother, Bruce Cognell. He was a golfer. J.E. Clayton, that's Fat Clayton, I guess.
Is he still alive?
I don't know. He's
He
what went to North Carolina.
too.
Clayton went to what
Har-
was his name?
I just know Fats Clayton, we called him.
And Horace Hickam, he was a fixer of the spin room.
And he was locked out of the strike.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He went back.
Yeah.
But you know, there were so many of us that went somewhere else. But they stopped me and asked me if I want to go back to work. Yeah, that's.
I met a lot of these people down at beauty shop where I worked. I took a beauty course.
In Cramerton?
No, here, and I knew a lot of those people down there. It was in the section. The beauty shop was in the section of the meal, section. And those meal people came in there and had their hair done.
Really?
Yeah, I can recognize their names, the cups and all, but I didn't know them.
Are any of the Cubs still alive?
There's one of them, but I forgot. But she still works at Cherokee. How many years ago that red and white restaurant, big golf ball block? I run into her. She coming down. One of them coming down one day, and she said, "Do you?" They asked me, said, "Howard, do you know her?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "She's a Cup." And I said, "I don't remember which one, but Mary Cup died lately." And then, what was Jimmy Fugit's wife's name? That's Hobb.
Fred and now what happened? Were the Turners very involved in the union?
Yeah, Fred. There's what I said. That went to North Carolina, and he lives here someplace.
On Coleman Road, I think, is where he lived.
Paul Walker,
And Hobbs dead.
Amos Weaver. They don't have his name either, right? He was a loom fixer. But just think of all those people it's in there that's dead. That's the bad part. And I'm still here. I don't see Willard Smith's name on
I
the.
have a W.R. Smith.
Oh, that's.
Is that him?
Yeah, that's Willard.
Now what? Let's see. Willard W.R. Smith is right here.
Was it?
90. Yeah.
Yeah, that's he. He was.
Number 90. So what they say is there's 129 names here, and they have 157 former employees were out on strike when the strike terminated. Well, a lot of these people, some of these people went back to work, but a lot of them were blacklisted and never could go back to work.
Yeah, they were. Floyd Henderson, Fats Clayton, and them, they couldn't go back. And I don't remember. I was trying to think if I went back after the strike or if I went to work for the contractor.
You know, maybe you went to work somewhere else, and then they called you and said, "Why don't you come back?" And that was after they needed people and everything had died down.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think now. If I went back, or if I went to work for the contractor, because a personnel man, Charlie Bill, stopped me one day, and I was driving the truck, construction truck, and wanted to know if I wanted to go to work. And I said, well, I'm working. And he said, well, you can come back to work if you want to. Monday night, said we're going to start up a third shift.
That sounds about right.
And that's what that was when, but I don't, I just keep peace in between, because in between somewhere I was out of work.
Let's think about it this way.
That picture, I remember, there'd be crowds of us there, but I can't remember dates.
Okay, well, there's no evidence of violence or other unlawful conduct. Picket lines were formed during the first weeks of the strike, but no point is made of the method of picketing. Let's see. The mill continued to operate throughout the strike. On August 31st, 1934, there were 659 operatives on the payroll. On Monday, September 10th, that was in August, the day before the strike. On Monday, September 10th, 1934, 57 of the...
Where I work, they couldn't just pick up a man off the street. He couldn't do my work. Or he couldn't take somebody from Brookside and put on my job, because they didn't have the kind of looms that I run. But now, the people, they hired several, I think, from Brookside. I think that's where some of those guys come from Brookside. They run the Draper looms, because that was the same kind of looms. And Cherokee paid better, and they run less looms at that time. So I don't know. It's been so long.
I know, it's been so long.
I tried to, after you called, I tried to think back to some of that stuff, and I tried to think of some of the girls that worked in there with Lucille.
I have some of their names.
What their names were, and I couldn't remember.
Roxy Clark.
Yeah, that was she was a cup.
She was a cop.
She was a cup. I married Clark. They said her name was in that, where they wouldn't hire him back.
Right.
And her brother was a boss. He was on the, it wasn't the 90 Winders, it wasn't the 50 Winders. But, I forget what.
Fanny Connor.
I don't remember her.
And then there's another woman here named Inez Deputy.
I remember the deputy. She was a spinner on spinning frames.
And Addie Hart. Remember her? And then Roxy Clark, yes, she wrote a couple of letters here.
Yes.
She wrote a letter. This is in February 35. And apparently the union was still, a small group of them was still trying to get everybody's jobs back.
She was an older woman, but she's been dead, I don't know how many years.
Well, tell me, can you remember, was it exhilarating to be out there on a picket line? How did it feel? Did you feel like you were working for something you believed in?
I don't remember that. Oh, well, naturally it would have been. You thought, we thought we were doing something big, I guess, I don't know, the younger guys, because we were supporting the older guys. Because if I remember right, if the weavers didn't work, we couldn't work, because we wouldn't have anything to do. And of course, they could hire people. They couldn't hire people to do what I was doing on the filling boy, because it took you time to learn all those colors and numbers, for the filling. But it's just one of those things.
Now, a lot of what they said here, one of the things that they did was to, Let's see here.
Robert McAnally cut the guy. They had a parade or something uptown. I
On
forgot.
Labor Day? Did they have a Labor Day parade?
I forgot what it was. Anyhow, this was at night, and Robert McIntyre, some guy said something to him, and he cut him up. He lived at Powell. I forgot. It's been so long. But there never was anything come out of it. I don't know.
Now, do you think that they didn't hire people back because of their union activity? Was that very clear to you?
I really I don't remember.
Because that seems to be the big problem. You know, they're saying that the mill discriminated against people that joined the union and didn't, like you said, the big mouths. Anyone who talked union too much, they didn't want them back.
That's or anybody that was a leader in the union, you know. But I don't. I know all those guys left. Of course, you know, I'm just a young man, and I didn't leave because.
But you didn't get your job back at the very beginning. Huh?
That's what I was trying to remember when I was out of work. I was trying to remember when I was out, and I can't, because this, where I was living at that time, there's a contractor that lived across the road. And he sent a guy over there one day after me, and I went over there. And I went to work with him. And the next day he wanted to know if I had a hammer. And I said, yeah, I've got a hammer. He said, bring it with you. And I worked with him up until I was getting 25 cents an hour is what I was getting. And
did he know? Did he know that you had gone out on strike, and that's why you were looking for work?
He didn't care. He just wanted somebody to work. And but you know, back then, you didn't stand around and fiddle your fingers. You worked, and because everybody was hunting a job. And but there's some other thing that I don't. Me and Willard talks about it a whole lot. I visited him several. His wife's been dead about a year, and I go by to visit with him, and we could talk about these old times, you know, and what we went through with, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And we existed. We made it through anyhow. But there's so many things. I don't know if Lucille could remember much of that or not, but
Do you remember Lucille as a leader? Could you talk about that?
no, because she was. I think she was more after the women in the spinning room, if I remember right. It seemed, I tried to remember who was. That might have been Foots Weaver in the weave shop. I don't remember exactly, because there's some weavers that worked in the. Amos Weaver was a loom fixer, and his wife was a weaver, and. So,
Buck Rutledge.
Rutledge.
Why were they carrying an American flag? Why?
Oh, that was the American way.
Joining the Union was an American way? Is that what?
Yeah, see, yeah, that's what it was, you know. It was. But.
How do you think it would have been if the Union was able to get in there and get a contract?
I really don't. It would have kept if it stretched out like you say it has. I don't know, you know, because I haven't been in the mill 50 years. But if they begin to expand out, you know, see, the looms that I run, they update them now. Of course, I don't know, you know what, I don't know anything about them. But if our mill had tried to keep the union out, they might have stretched out and give you more looms to run. But then we didn't care, because the more looms we run, the more money we make. But now what we called over on the Draper looms, see, they'd run 14, 18 looms, and where I was running 8. And of course they were different kind of looms. They're just plain cloth. like this.
Yeah, well, as I understand it, when they went on the 8-hour day, and they were forced to pay minimum wage and only get 8 hours, that was when a lot of the mill owners decided to get involved in like an efficiency work, and they said, look, you're going to make the same amount of cloth that you did in 12 hours, and you're going to do it in 8 hours, and if we have to pay all this more money, then
And, there wasn't anything they could do about it because,
fire him.
well, I mean, even if I was a good weaver, I mean, I was fast. And if they said I had to run 12 looms, and maybe it would have been impossible to keep all those looms running. But then I could keep 8 looms running, but maybe I couldn't keep 12. And the company would be losing because if I couldn't run them, nobody else could. Because I thought I was good. Because I led production in Cherokee Mill for 2 years. I made more money than all the weavers because I'd check it, to see how I was doing.
Now, a lot of the people that I've spoken to, they lived in mill villages, and they were frightened to go out on strike because
Well,
if they got fired, they'd lose their house.
the older people, well, a lot of people did lose their houses,
Here in
but
Cherokee.
but it wasn't any worse than the guys that being out of work. There's a lot of people out of work then. I remember people lost their houses for $200.
What do you think gave people the courage? I mean, it was a big portion of your mill came out on strike, didn't they?
Yeah, because see, when the weave shop shut down, that was the wheel of that mill. And if it didn't run, this other part didn't need to run because it wasn't using the material.
So do you think that because the weave shop would you say the weave shop became like 100% union, that those weavers said, yeah, we're going to join?
Yeah, see, if we could have kept the guys out, if we could have kept the weavers out and all the rest of the mill with it, they would have had to shut out because nobody wasn't using the yard, see, that come from the card room to the spinning room and to the weave room. And the slashers and everything would have had to shut down because if we could have got the weave room to stay out, because they might have went to some parts of North Carolina and found weavers, they could run the draper looms. But the Crompton looms was a complicated loom, and they couldn't just pick up anybody to run those.
So you all had more. So your union was rather. It felt like you were powerful because you were able to get these people, the skilled people, to come out.
That was what I think was the whole point. If they had, if all the weavers would have stayed out like they come out, they would have, the company would have recognized the union because they wouldn't have had any other choice. Because they couldn't have got enough what we call scabs to go in there.
Now it seems like the way that they were able to break your strike was they gave you this injunction that said you can't work anymore.
Well, they had.
I mean, you can't picket line.
Yeah, that was what it was all against the union to start with. But see, they can't. You can't hardly get an injunction now. They got to have a reason for it, and they didn't have a reason.
They didn't have a reason?
No, because we wasn't hurt. We didn't bother nobody. We didn't fight. We didn't. You say at the union hall, they might have had a fight or whatever, because it wasn't because they felt like, when the guys were going in there and taking their job, they felt like killing him. But if they did, I didn't know it. I don't remember anybody ever getting hurt.
So you stayed out the whole time?
Yeah, as far as I remember, I tried to get those in between times when I was out of work because I lost the car. And I can't remember when that was. Seemed like I had '33 Ford.
It seems like it was also yeah. You lost a car because you couldn't pay for it.
Yeah, yeah, because I was out of work, and I couldn't pay for it.
How'd you eat during the strike?
Hmm?
How did you eat during the strike?
I don't know, but at that time I had a brother-in-law that had a grocery store, and I never did go hungry, I don't reckon. And but I'd always managed to find something.
Now you were married then, right?
Yeah.
And your wife, you don't mind. Your wife went out on the picket line too.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So did she get fired because of your union activity?
I guess I don't know. I guess no, she didn't go in. If I didn't go, she wouldn't go. So that was just one of those things. I guess. As I say, it's been slow,
Yeah.
but yeah, we both went.
Married almost 50 years.
You've been
So we both went back, and I don't know how long she worked there, because when I left, and I didn't have any contact with the old neighborhood that I grew up in until I retired.
Now, you went to North Carolina, to Cramerton Mills. Is it Cramerton, North Carolina? Is that what it was called? Right outside Charlotte?
Yeah,
Now,
right out of Belmont.
Right outside Belmont.
Yeah.
Now, how did you know to go there to look for
Well,
work?
this Turner, did you turn that thing off or something? These Turner boys went over there. See, Floyd Henderson and Fat Clayton, that I remember, they were older than we were. And I don't know if the Turner boys went over there and found them or what, but anyhow, they left Knoxville and went over there.
Did they leave very soon after the strike? Or?
I don't remember. So much going on then, I don't remember. But anyhow, I don't know how long they were over there before I ever went over there. But
Did you keep in touch with them? How did you know to find work over there?
no, I knew, somebody told me that they had come back or something, come back to visit here. And maybe Fred come back over here married. I don't remember. But Albert Turner, he married over there. And but Fred's come back here.
Did Fred stay there for a long time?
Yeah.
It's still, is he dead or not?
Fred Turner? No, you run into him at the Kroger's that
Yeah,
time.
he lives here. He moved back here now.
Recently?
Mhm.
Like in the last 10 years he moved back?
Yeah,
They ran the Breakville nursing home.
his daughter.
Daughter married a fellow that his mother and father were in it, and they came back to help them
Here.
in the nursing home. So they live on Coleman Road, I guess.
So you were saying some people went to North Carolina, some people went to Michigan,
No, I believe they went to New York.
Utica?
Leonard Knight. Was his name on that? See, but he went up there someplace.
Leonard Knight,
Yeah.
his name.
I don't see his name here. There's a lot of people's names here. The Longs and the Lanes and Mick Mahone and McLeod and McCarroll and Maples and Nance and Monroe. Do you remember do you remember
Yes,
Monroe?
Jimmy Monroe, yeah.
What was Monroe like?
Oh, he was a weaver. He's a nice little fella. A little short guy.
And he was a leader in the union, wasn't he?
Yeah. Jimmy Monroe.
Are you
Right.
affiliated with some union or something, or just
No,
trying to see
I'm
what-
just trying to understand the history of this.
He
Yeah.
married his first cousin. She was a young girl.
Now, before you were saying that you were proud to work in the textile industry.
Yeah.
Why?
Because, I had to have a job, and I didn't have any experience, any skills, and I learned to weaving is a skill. My weaving was because they called it a fancy weave, and not anybody could do that. And I know how you have to earn $1. You had to work. You had to have that keep that pick clock running. And it taught me what $1 was all about. How you had to make it. And then after you made it, you had to learn how to keep it. And I had a lot of friends. We were all just like a big family that worked at that mill.
Cherokee or Cramerton?
In Cherokee. In Cramerton, they were all that way too, because they all were a family. They all lived there together, went to church together, to school together.
How was Cramerton different than Cherokee?
Well,
Was it a Millville?
they paid better money. They paid more money, and if you got let's see, if you didn't have any seconds, you made 10 or 15% more on cloth.
Was Cramerton the first mill village that you experienced?
Yeah, that's the first village I was ever in. That's the first little town I was ever in. Because I was raised in Knoxville. And, of course, Marble City at that time was a little village because everybody was either a textile worker or a marble mill worker. And everybody was working people. And there wasn't any high-priced people in there.
Was the atmosphere different in living in a mill village or working in a mill that had a mill village than it was at Cherokee?
I didn't think so because I could make friends in place, or I could back that time. But as you grow older, you just don't mix with people like I did then.
What about the way the bosses treated their employees?
Oh,
Was it different at Cherokee than it was?
No, at Cherokee, you never seen your boss. But at Cramerton, the boss, he'd walk up down the aisles, and what we call the boss weaver, he had a little place up here, but I never did see him because I worked.
They would take a worker from Cherokee Mill over there. If they knew that he worked at Cherokee, they'd take him and hire him.
Why was that?
Well, I don't know.
We're good, I guess.
We were, I guess we were classed as good workers. I don't know.
Now, was it a big reunion when you went to Cramerton and you saw all these guys from Cherokee?
No, we were just friends like we'd always been. The Turner, one of the Turner boys, he got into it, mixed in a big way. He finally got into politics, and when Burlington bought Cramerton out, I understand that they sold all the houses and everything to the people, and everybody owned their own homes then. And then they made a little town, incorporated, made a little town, and I think one of them finally got in politics, but he was the one that died.
Now, were the Turners real? Did they ever try and unionize at Cramerton?
Well, I don't think so.
They just worked there. It wasn't unionized.
Because, I guess since nobody in that little town, they got their houses for nothing nearly, and they got their lights for nothing nearly, and they didn't pay the water bills. So, and they had the high school right there in the middle of the town. It was just they was like Cherokee. They really didn't need a union. But now you take a place like Brookside and those places where they stretched them out, and they needed something. But now, if I don't know, I made good money when I worked at Cramerton, But
Do you think all those guys that had gone from, they were fired because they try to join a union and have a union?
well, there's so many names on that I mean, of course, most of them are dead there, but the Cups went back. Red Cup, as I say, was the boss on the winders, and Guy Cup was the boss in the spinning room, and Mary Cup was a spinner, and Clark, I don't remember what she done.
Roxy.
Yeah, Roxy, I don't remember what her husband was a painter and interior decorator, and she didn't really have to work. Roxy did, and people that had an income, they got into there and worked for the union, because if they lost that, it didn't make any difference. They could afford to lose out.
The people who had an income that went in.
They could. I don't know about now. Lucille didn't, because back that time she was a young woman.
Right. Well, I think a lot of these people had a lot to lose if they joined up. They'd lose their job.
That's right.
But they decided that they had a big chance in doing it, and it would be okay.
Well,
Maybe they decided it was worth the risk, I guess.
See, most of those people that I seen on that list come out of the spinning room, and because I don't, I say, of course, I was out of the weave room, and John Maples was out of me, and his wife was out, and there's names on there that I didn't even know worked in the mill. That Eula McLeod, I didn't even know she worked there, and but I worked on third shift, and I knew about all of them that worked. Because a lot of lived in the same neighborhood. But I don't see many in there out of the weave room, and that's especially on the.
Floyd Henderson was in.
I don't see his name on
Let's
there.
see. I think Floyd Henderson is on there.
His name's on there.
Excuse me. And Clayton's
One
is.
second. I gotcha. Okay. Now, your full name is?
Thelma Blanton Logsdon.
Okay. Now, you grew up in the Cramerton Mill Village.
North Carolina.
Were you born there?
No. Yeah, I was born in Charlotte.
You were born in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Did your family always work in a cotton mill?
Yeah, they sure did.
How did they come to work in the cotton mill?
Well, as Homer said, that was about the only thing there was to work in those days, and during the Depression and all.
Now, you moved to Cramerton Mill Village, and you went to the Mill Village School?
Yeah. I didn't know the mill owned it, though. I didn't really know that.
You lived in a mill house?
Yeah.
When did you start working in the mill?
When I graduated high school.
Now, a lot of people didn't graduate high school. They just went straight into the mill, didn't they?
Yeah, when they got old enough that they could get a job, they went.
Now, do you remember when all these people moved to your community?
Uh-huh.
You do?
Yeah, because that was when Homer came over after then. These other people were already there, and then he heard about the working conditions there, so he came over too. That's where I met him.
Did a whole group of people all of a sudden start to come down to the mill?
No, they filtered in, and then they would come back here, I guess, and tell people it was a nice place to work, so they would filter over there too and see if they could get a job.
Now, you remember, did you know why they had to move?
No, not until Homer told me.
He told you when he came in 1940? Or just
Yeah.
now?
No, I had heard that they were in the strike, here, and they wouldn't let them work there then.
Do you think that frightened the owners of the Cramerton mills?
No,
These
I
were
don't think
strikers?
so. I don't think so.
Now, what? Now you said that you remember your daddy going to a meeting.
Yeah.
What do you remember?
Yeah, just that he went to. Just that he went to a meeting and seemed like they gave them some groceries or they had a strike or something. I'm not even sure because I was so young.
I know that in Charlotte and in Belmont they handed out groceries to people.
It
If they
seems,
went out on strike, they had like a strike relief.
I believe that was what he went to a meeting, but I don't remember anything he brought home or anything.
Do you remember the National Guard coming into Cramerton?
No.
And what did you do in the mill?
Well, I was weaving there for after a while after I learned, but I was almost too small to weave because it was, a hard job.
Now, your daddy didn't lose his job after the strike, did he?
Mm-mm.
Do you remember talk about any of that? Or people moving out of their houses because
No.
it might not have been a really big deal in Cramerton.
It
I'm not
wasn't.
sure.
I don't think they belonged to a union there. But they went out in sympathy, I guess, maybe. I'm not sure. If they belonged to a union, they joined it, and then when they went out on strike with the rest of the people. But that's all I remember about it.
Yeah, well, I might
Did you say I was about 13, did you say?
You guess you were about 13 years old. Yeah. What did you ever tell Homer what it was like to grow up in a mill village?
No.
What can you talk about?
Well, we just had a lot of friends and went to school and went to church. It was a real nice place to live. The houses were nice, and
Both your mommy and your daddy were?
mm-hmm.
What you?
Had two sisters, three of us.
And did you have to go to church? I mean, did you all go to church together on Sunday? What was the role of the church in your community?
Well, it was a big role in the community because everybody went to church nearly. But my father, he didn't. My mother did, and the children did, but he didn't.
I've been told by some people that the superintendent made sure you went to church. That he
No.
wanted to see you there.
No, that's not so.
So Cramerton was right next to Belmont.
Mm-hmm. On the other side of the highway from Belmont.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow. So you know what? I don't know.
You were on Wilkinson Boulevard, I guess, and Cramerton's on one side of it, and Belmont's on the other side of it.
So did a whole group of people from Tennessee come over to your mill? Was it a real big community of people?
No,
No,
just
that's just
several.
Clayton and Henderson and the Turners. That's the ones I know.
Yeah.
Lawrence Baldwin and Grady.
Yeah. I remember all those
And
people.
I went over there. Lawrence and Grady were just passing through, but they hired them anyhow. And 8 touring car. I took him and his family, and he had so much money, and he told me he'd give me so much to take them out there.
When did you move out? That was in the 40s?
No, well, it's in the 30s.
It was in the 30s.
Uh-huh.
Is Zach Self, he got fired also? I guess so.
Yeah, I guess so, because we were all out in here. He had a 2-wheel trailer. They loaded up what they had, and he said, "I'll give you so much to take me out there." And I said, "Let's go." And I know there was a textile mill there. It run. Those looms had belts run to the ceiling. It run the looms.
Was that Dallas Mills in Houston?
No, it's in Post City, Texas.
Post City, Texas.
And we went over into Hobbs, New Mexico, and they said they'd give us $5 an hour to fight fire, and I said, "I'll just go back home and pick with the chickens." And
So did he stay in what Post City, Texas?
yes, as far as I know, he did.
So that was Zach Self.
I believe that was his name.
Zach Self. Was he a friend of yours?
No, he just worked in the mill.
Now, do you think that you did this? Maybe this is what you did before you came back and got a job in construction.
I can't remember. I try to put it together, and I can't.
Well, we'll see then.
Which year did you get married?
Huh?
You were 19 when you got married, you said, didn't you?
I was 17. I was-
17.
And I've been 18 in February.
So you got married in 1932?
I got married in Christmas in 31.
So Zach Self went to Texas.
Best I remember, that was his name.
He's right here.
Yeah,
Right here, number 89.
yeah, that's
And then this group of boys.
that. What I was trying to remember. Ada Spurgeon, that was one of the girls. I remember her. Henry Scott, but now Henry, he went back, worked in the mill the rest of his life. I remember him, and his wife did too.
How long did you work in the mill?
Huh?
How long did you work in the mill? I didn't work in one very long.
How long did I work? About 12 years.
So you, after 19, after you went back to work. Oh, altogether you worked 12 years.
Oh, I guess that's.
And this is W.R. Smith, right?
I believe that's Willard.
And what did Willard do?
He was a fixer, loom fixer. Now he likes to talk about old times, and he might remember stuff that I don't.
And it might be interesting for the two of you to talk together, since you do that a whole lot, right?
Yeah, we talk about it. Talk about. He's got a picture up on his wall back when we all went to Sunday school church when we were kids.
Really? Oh, how wonderful. Now, Zach Self had some family here. Dewey Self, Viney Self, H.S. Self.
Now Dewey Self, I don't know if that's. I don't believe that's the same family. It might be. I don't know. But if it is, he's not the one that I took to
Zach.
Post City.
Zach Self. So people from this Cherokee, because of this strike, people went to Zack City, Texas.
Post City.
Post City, Texas. They went to Cramerton, North Carolina. And who was it that went to Utica, New York?
Hicks Lane, Dick Crook, I think.
Hicks Lane. I have Richard Lane, Sally Lane. I have L.H. Lane, Hazel Lane, Ernest Lane.
Hazel Lane. Now Hazel was his wife.
Maybe L.H. Lane was his name.
Yeah.
And where did they go?
I believe they went to Utica. And now Leonard Knight, did you ever find his name on there?
Leonard Knight? Where did Leonard Knight go? I don't have his name here, but where did he go?
I'll try to remember if he went to New York or if he went to some little town in Michigan, because he had 4 looms, and he worked on his own.
He worked on his own.
Worked on his own.
Uh-huh.
Had his 4 looms, and he had a little weaving. He kept those 4 loops running. He'd sell that cloth.
At home he had 4 looms?
Somewhere in this garage or someplace up there.
In Michigan?
Wherever he was, because he come back here.
I mean, where he went, he ran his own shop somewhere else, or right here he had 4 looms?
Oh, he had the 4 looms wherever he went, from here. And I know I said something about Cherokee, used to have a loom on display up at Gatlinburg, where the guy was weaving. And I said something about it, and he said I had 4.
What, did he come back here?
Yeah, he's here now.
He's here now?
Leonard Knight. That's the reason I said was his name on there anymore.
Wow, he lives here now.
Yeah.
So Leonard Knight lives here now? Or
Yeah,
who
but
else?
I don't know where.
Okay. When did you see him last?
It's been about 4 or 5 years ago.
And Leonard Knight lives here, and Mr. Turner lives here?
Fred Turner lives here someplace.
And Willard Smith.
Thelma said she thought he lived on Coleman Road, so there's several Turner's here, so you'd have to pick him. There's Fred Turner's contractor.
And was this sad when this all broke up? How'd you feel?
It's been so long, and when I got into business, Willard was over on Southern Avenue, and I was over on Middlebrook Pike, and there's a ridge between us. And I guess there's 20 years that we didn't see each other, because he run his business and I run mine. And then after I retired, and he got out of the service station business and got into the junk business, I began to run into him every once in a while. I'd go over to his place,
With the dogs under there.
yeah, where we could sit and just talk. And but now Willard is. I don't know if Leonard was working in the mill when we was on the strike or not. But now, did Lucille know about Hicks Lane?
She didn't mention him. And where did Hicks Lane go? Hicks Lane went to Utica?
He's what I think went to Utica, but I believe he lives down in either Madisonville or Etowah.
Oh, he moved back here?
Yeah,
Madisonville or
Etowah.
Etowah? How do you spell that?
Etowah, I think.
Here's a Leonard Knight on Martha Avenue. I don't know where that is.
That'd be him, I guess.
What's his phone number? Combe, huh?
Yeah, see, that's what happened.
See, we just got married and came back to Knoxville right away. So we've
And-
been here.
See, that's what. See if Willard's got a telephone number.
Okay, I'm in the T's now.
People came home.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Yeah, see, that's what happens. You go off, just like when I went to North Carolina, I felt like I could make a better living here than I could over there, because I didn't want to work in a cotton mill.
You had enough.
I wanted out. And
Why'd you want out?
I don't know. I just wasn't satisfied. And I know the man even was going to give me a daytime job. And I told him no, I was going back to Tennessee. And I come back here and got a milk route, something I never had done.
Milk wrap.
Yeah, on the truck, going through the neighborhood, peddling milk. And then I quit that, went to Oak Ridge, and
Now, did Oak Ridge have a union?
yeah, but I never did join it, don't think,
Really?
because we were just starting up,
Were you afraid to join?
No, I would have been right in the middle of it, I guess, if we had, because I still believe, but I think the union is kind of run. They've got to doing the work too sloppy. Because that's what hurt our automobile industry, like it's been hurt, because they done sloppy work. And Japan could have sent these cars in here, and you'd hit them, and they felt like metal. And ours, you hit them, and they felt like a piece of tin. Because today, Japan, I guess, builds a better car than we do. But I still wouldn't buy one of them.
Right. Are you aware that most of the southern textile industry never really did get unionized?
Did it before?
And the unions never really took in the South.
Huh?
Do you know why?
Yeah, because people were so obligated in debt, think they couldn't afford to lose out, and they wouldn't stand up for what they. I was in the school buses 20 years, leasing them to the county, and when they wouldn't give us a raise, I'd try to talk the people in to making them give us a raise. And we couldn't get them together. They just wouldn't do it. And of course, about everybody that owned buses on the farm or had another business going, and they were afraid they'd lose out. And I would say, about 2 or 3 years ago, they done that. They got younger guys in that if they lost, they didn't care. And they pulled about 100 buses down in the field and parked them. And they said they're going to stay there till we get what we want. And they got it. See, that's what it takes to get what you want. You got to stick together. If you don't, just like in our strike, when this one started back, that went back. Next day there'd be 2 more go back. Next day there'd be 3 more go back. And the first thing you know, they had half of the mill running. So that's the way it goes.
And then they fired everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and then these that didn't go back, they said that they couldn't, whatever. I don't remember, that ever. I didn't know I was on that list. But anyhow, they asked me to come back.
I have a feeling they asked you to come back a little later.
How
could you have had the time to drive to Texas?
When they needed me, they wanted me to come back.
How did you have the time to drive to Texas if you were working, right?
Oh, that's right. I wanted to.
You were working. So otherwise, who would have time to drive all the way to?
Well, I was gone.
City, right?
I might have been gone 2 or 3 weeks or a month. I don't know, because I know when we went out there. It was rough. I mean, you don't remember, but anyhow, they had a drought out to Texas, and cows was laid. You could see them laid out in the field, dried up, and all that. And died from the lack of food and water.
How did this guy know? How did Zach Self know that there was cotton mills in Texas? How did people know there were cotton mills in Utica, New York?
He was from there, and now how this guy's wife was from out in there, and when we got there, we went to some of his people's house, and then we went from there to this mill, and they gave him a job, and they was going to give me a job. And I said, I couldn't work it here. I'd smother to death. And then we went over into New Mexico, where they offered me a job, $5 a day to fight fire, the oil wells. And I said, no, I'll just go back.
So you came back here and you got a job in construction.
That's the best I can remember.
And then the mill saw you in your truck and they offered you your job back.
Yeah. Henry that says E.J. McMillan. I thought it's Henry McMillan.
It was Fred's middle initial.
Who?
Fred Turner R.
I don't know.
There's one that lives on Sanders Road, and I think this is Fred Turner that you own.
Okay.
It's 693-9630.
693-9630. Okay.
Let's see now. Read that. Call it back.
693-9630.
Right.
Okay.
Now I don't find Willard's number in here, but we have it in here.
C.W. Bell. He was a personnel man.
Let me ask you another question. This is like ideology, I mean, did the union represent something to you back then? I know it's a hard reach because it was a long time ago.
I don't remember the union ever representing me. See, they might have been. I wouldn't know anything about it.
Right. But what did it represent something to you? I mean, did it mean that there were better times ahead? Did it mean that the mill would run the way you wanted it
See,
to run?
I guess when they were organizing it, everything was going to be to lock your job in. You'd have your job, and somebody else couldn't take your job. Or this guy couldn't come over and run your job, or I couldn't go over and run his job. You'd have a job to do, and that'd be your job. So that's the way, that when I look at it now. But, as I got older, but then it didn't bother me either way or the other. because as long as I had a job, I was satisfied.
Did you ever try? I mean, up until the time with that bus situation, when you said, "Look, we got to organize and get together if we want to get a raise," did you ever think in terms of, yeah, the union means unity, or people need to stick together? Did that ever?
Well, what I was trying to do, I finally got an organization, school bus organization. We finally got together and set it up. It's just a private thing. We had our secretary, our treasurer, we had a president, and but we still had these guys that was afraid that the superintendent would take their contract or whatever. And then, of course, everybody held on, but we didn't get the raise that we should have got because after we changed, I quit back when, or sold out when the superintendent said that we had to send our children to the principal to be corrected instead of us correcting them on the bus. I said, it's time for me to quit. And she wanted to know why. And I said, that's second-handed stuff. And I said, I can do more with my children than the principal can. And I said, it's time for me to quit. And she said, Homer, you've been at it too long. I said, you're not going to quit. And I said, well, I'm going to. And I said, this man wants to buy my buses. And yeah.
It's a shopping center, right?
Yeah, it's, that's, before they done that, it was Tom's Potato Chips.
Factory?
Yeah.
And the Zayre's department store.
Yeah, Zayre's department store right after Turkey left.
Can you still see the structure of the mill there? Can you still? Does it look like a mill
We haven't
building?
been in it. I think they've redone it.
It don't look like, they've took the whole front off and the whole, where I said was the card room, they took that all off and made the street wider. And up at the front, they took the spinning room, they just tore it all off. No, they didn't tear that off.
Somebody's bought a lot of those houses.
They bought all those houses along there. That's what that front yard is. Have you been by there?
Not yet. I'm gonna go.
Well, if you go see Willard, you'll go by there.
So he lives around there.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I could see him tomorrow.
He lives. If you go, call him,
Yeah, I'll call him.
and when you go, he lives in an old house.
Does he live alone?
Yeah,
Oh, his wife's.
yeah. You wouldn't think he had a dime, but don't pay attention to that because he's got it.
Millionaire.
He's gonna keep it. But
Can't take it with you.
I kid him all the time about.
3 kids.
But his son-in-law's got a record.
About 36, 35, 36.
I guess I don't remember.
Did you ever think, were conditions as such where you're working so hard and having, not being able to get a raise? I'm just wondering, did you ever think, the union would have been a good thing?
I don't know because we would get raises.
And what did they say?
They would. If we get raises 5 or 10%, maybe we ought to have 20 or something,
And that was to keep everybody happy, you said.
They just give you enough to keep everybody. They tried to stay a little bit above the union or up with the union scale to keep the people happy. Cherokee did. As long as Hanson was there now, I don't know.
Now, was this when you went back to work also in the 35?
See, I don't remember that McMillan, but I know the Ashes and McMillan that owned that before Mebane got it. See, there's a McMillan's name on that.
Right.
But see, Mebane, the way I understood it, owned it when we was on the strike.
Right, and then Mebane died. I'll show you.
Yeah,
Right.
but
I'm telling you, a lot of people have been ashamed of their ever joining a union.
no, I think that's. I think that's.
Are you proud that you had tried to join that union?
The only thing I hate about it that it didn't succeed. I never liked to be a loser, and I never was satisfied because I couldn't get. I was the president of the Service Station Association, and I was president of the School Bus Association. I get in something, I push. And
Did you push for back in 1934? Were you trying to push?
no,
You were like laid
I
back.
didn't know that much about it.
Did
but-
you sign a card?
Yeah, I had a union card.
You still have it?
No, no. I was in the basement the other day
Yeah.
and looking through some old stuff, and I found one of my old reed hooks. You know what you had to have to weave with.
Really?
And I said, boy, this thing just about rusted out.
Did you throw it out, or you still have
No,
it?
I still have it.
Good.
And my nephew was out in the garage one day, and he looked. He said, "What's those things?" I said, "They're shuttles." He said, "A shuttle?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "That's what you use in a loom. It carries the thread back and
Did you
forth."
take it out of the mill or something?
Yeah, that's where it come from.
You took it home with you?
It's out in the garage, hanging up out there.
Really?
Got two of
Oh, that's great.
them. They still got the quills in them,
That's great.
but you know it's.
But we were talking about why some people are afraid to talk about ever joining that union. They're still frightened.
I don't understand because when you're trying to help yourself, I don't know if it would ever help us or not. I don't know if it ever helped Cherokee or not, but because we didn't live through it. If we lived through it, then we'd know whether we succeeded or not. But I don't know of any textile mill that can hold their employees. The union can hold their employees together. If there's one, I don't know where it is.
Do you know why? I mean, do you think it's because of the opposition that the mill put up against them? Because of the government? Why?
No, I think it's the people.